4 free plays getting you ready to bet the Major League Baseball slate tonight. It's all coming your way in just mere moments here. It's first pitch on WagerTalk TV, and we got a fearsome twosome joining me this morning. We got Steve Merril, we got Tokyo Brandon, and boys, I say we get right into it. Let's start it off with my man Tokyo Brandon. He's been seeing it well over the last 7 days. Number 2 in all sports. He's got to play up today, but let's talk about what you're eyeing today for your big game breakdown. It's bird on bird crime when the Orioles take on the Cardinals again here on Wednesday. How are you betting this one, TB?
Bird on bird crime, and there might be some arrests in this one because we have two awful pitchers. I see a lot of runs here. The Cardinals Orioles game. I see two ways to bet this game actually. So let's take a look at the starting pitchers. We got Gibson going for the Orioles, and Gibson, not a terrible pitcher, but if you look at his numbers, he's given up 3 or more runs in 6 starts in a row. He's been awful, just absolutely awful. And if you look at his history against these Cardinals, he has an OPS against of 980, which is not good. You want your pitchers to be right around 800 or maybe less than 800. They've blown him up in his lifetime against Cardinal batters. So who are they going against? They're going against Drew Rom. Drew Rom is bad. He might be the only guy who's worse than Adam Wainwright, although Wainwright had a decent showing yesterday. Rom is awful. He's got a 202 whip on the season. Granted, he's only started 4 times, but those 4 starts were 2 of them were against the Pirates, which are not exactly, tearing the cover off the ball, shall we say. So he's given up 4, 3, 2, 6 in his last 4 starts, and he's got a whip of over 202. So 10.5 is the total for this game, and I think it's going to go over that. This could be one of those football score games because both pitchers just can't hold the other team down, and actually both lineups are hitting quite well, and neither bullpen is performing well recently. So 2 ways to bet this: over 10.5. But I still think the Orioles have a better team and will atone for yesterday. Orioles -1 on DraftKings. I just checked it; it was -130. So those are the 2 ways I would approach this game. Definitely going to see a lot of runs here. Bird on bird crime. Could be some battery arrests in this one. But I think the Orioles will come out on top. Orioles -1 or the over 10.5 is how I would approach this one.
That's a hot take, Brandon. The Orioles are a better team than the St. Louis Cardinals. That's you might get some flack in the comments for saying something that controversial. One of the most profitable teams. Steve and I were talking about it last week. One of the most profitable teams, not in baseball, in sports, has been back in the Orioles. So great breakdown there from a man, Tokyo Brandon. Hop below in the comments and let us know. Agree or you disagree? Hot take: Orioles better than the Cards. Let us know. Steve, you want to talk Reds and Tigers here. This is a game that we'll also hear about a little bit later in Best Bets, but I'm wondering, for your big game breakdown, how are you looking to attack this one?
Yeah, surprisingly, if you combine the Reds and the Tigers, they've been 2 very profitable teams this year. The Orioles up over 20 units back-to-back seasons, but the Reds and Tigers combined are up over 24 units against the money line this year. So these are 2 teams that have been play on teams against the money line. But I'm going to look at the total in this game. I think both offenses hit the ball well last night, and it probably continues this evening as well. And keep in mind, this is a Cincinnati offense that's been really good all season long. And the reason the Reds are still in contention, I'll bet 1 game back in the wild card still, is because of that offense. This is a team that scored 692 runs this season, but they've given up 728. To put that in perspective, that's over 130 runs more allowed than division leader Milwaukee. So Cincinnati has to win with offense, and that's pretty much what they've done in recent weeks and pretty much all season long. Both offenses hit the ball well last night. After a day off on Monday, Cincinnati came right back out with another high-scoring game, 6-5 win last night on Tuesday in Detroit. And it is weird to see the Tigers as a money line favorite in this game, but that's because the pitcher for Cincinnati is just awful. At least he was in his major league debut. Connor Phillips, 1 major league start, got shelled last week. And what I like to look at in these situations is the minor league stats. And this is a guy that was very mediocre in the minors this year as well. He started 10 of his 11 appearances, two different spots in a single and double A this year, and had a combined 1.41 whip and a 3.86 ERA. Those are below average numbers for the majors, and that was in double A and triple A. So you can add about another 40% onto that. This guy would be a very below average pitcher in the majors. So I don't see all of a sudden any pitching help coming for Cincy. Detroit, I think, will get some offense once again tonight. But more importantly, so will Cincinnati, a team that's had double digit hits now in 5 of their past 6 games. So I would take a look at the Reds and Tigers over the 8.5. And keep in mind, 9 is a very key number. So at 8.5 or less, I think we get some nice value, especially with a bad starter like Phillips on the mound tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, and if you're joining us here in the morning, there is one little rogue 8 hanging out at one of those national sports books. But depending on when you're joining us, you may just be missing that. But still at the 8.5, Steve likes it over the total. And hey, that's a great reason to make sure you're subscribed here. When we go live, get in front of some of these line moves, because more often than not, our experts here are getting those CLV trophies stacked up. All right, so we got the breakdown here on maybe how to bet the side, but my man Tokyo Brandon has a way to bet the pitchers in this matchup, more specifically the one that'll be on the mound for the Tigers. What do you got for a prop for us as far as Eduardo Rodriguez is concerned?
Okay, so these pitcher props, as I said in the previous show, I like to do the outs recorded for pitchers. Reason being is because it's much easier to pick an over under on something like an outs over or under, which is generally 16 or 17 in a game, rather than strikeouts, which is generally 5, 6, or 7 in a game. The lower the number, the harder it is to leverage an over under bet. But the higher the number, there's a lot more variance. So it's easier to do that. And in the last week, I've been winning these at a really nice rate. I'm 27-12 in the last week in MLB and hope to keep that going. So today, this is actually the play that I have for sale on WagerTalk. So don't buy that play. If you want to get my other plays, I have 2 plays for subscribers only. Just get a 1-day pass and you can get all of my plays. But this one is the one that's being sold on WagerTalk right now. But I'm going to give it out because you guys have been giving great comments. Love the interaction, and I just want to do something for you guys who watch this show during football season. So we're going to go to the Reds and Tigers, like Dan said. Eduardo Rodriguez, great pitcher actually, and he's got great numbers against the Reds. Steve can still cash his over bet even if Rodriguez wins my prop in this one, because I think the Tigers will probably win Steve's over by themselves. But Rodriguez's outs recorded on DraftKings right now is 17.5. So what that means is, will he complete 6 innings or not? So a lot of factors to look at to see if you cash this bet or not. First of all, how does Rodriguez do in his lifetime against the Reds? Well, we don't have a lot of sample size, just 18 at bats against 3 of the players, but he's held them to a 3.33 OPS against, which is pretty amazing. Granted, the sample size is small. So let's not take that too much into factor. However, he averages 17.6 outs in all of his starts, and the Reds allow starters to go 0.4 outs over their average in the last 30 days. So what that means is I project Rodriguez to 18 outs recorded in this, which means I project him to finish 6 innings in this game. My over 17.5 projections are winning at 62.6% on the season. So I like when the book has it at 17.5 and I have the over on that. And if you look at Rodriguez's last 10 starts, generally he finishes 6 innings unless he gets shelled. And he has gotten shelled a couple of times against better teams than the Reds. He got shelled against the Dodgers once and the Orioles once. So I don't think the Reds are quite that. I don't think the Reds are quite that good. So as long as he doesn't get shelled, he should be able to last 6 innings. So I like Rodriguez over 17.5 outs recorded. That's on DraftKings, and it was minus 115 It was minus 110 when I picked it up. I think it's dropped to about minus 120. I still see value in that. So Eduardo Rodriguez over 17 and a half outs recorded is my best bet for the show. And it's a client play, 3% client play that I have sent out to my clients about an hour ago.
Little 3%er dropped here for the early edition of First Pitch, and seems like this is the over edition as well. Steve Merrill's going to get the last word, see if he can complete the quadfecta here and take a look at the Bravos and the Phillies. Number looks like it's sitting, Steve, around 8.5 for this one as well. Man, no strangers to hitting it out of the park, especially in yesterday's drama-filled game. You think it continues when the Phils and the Braves face off there at Citizens Bank Park today?
Yeah, we're going to look at a free play for a Wednesday evening, an early game at 6:40 Eastern here in Major League Baseball. And there's only one team that has clinched a playoff berth already, and it's not a surprise. It's the best team in Major League Baseball this season, the Atlanta Braves, and a team that's by far been the best offensive team in baseball. 848 runs, only 609 allowed. They don't give up a ton. They've got some good pitching. They do have Strider on the mound tonight, but that offense alone is always worth an overlook against a Philadelphia team that's still scrapping here. They might be 16 back, but they're in second place in the AL East, and they're only 3.5 up in the wild card standings. So they got to keep fighting as well. So two really good teams, two really good offensive teams, and we saw that last night on Tuesday with 13 runs scored, 22 hits in that game. And yes, I think the offense comes again. Now, the overnight line was 8.5 here. There's a few straggler 8.5s left as of Wednesday morning, but mostly nines to the under. So we're getting 9 minus 105 in most spots, but at 9 or less, the over is still the way to play this. Now, it does concern me a little bit that Spencer Strider's coming off a really bad outing because he does have a tendency a lot of times to bounce back with a strong showing. But keep in mind, not only did he give up 6 runs in just 2.5 innings against St. Louis, but he was very mediocre to start before that, giving up 4 runs in just 6 innings against the Dodgers. So Strider's now giving up 10 earned runs in just 8.5 innings his last 2 outings. So maybe there's a chance he's starting to hit the wall as power pitchers often do late in the season. And I think the Phillies offense can take advantage. Philly has now scored at least 6 runs or more in 4 of their last 5 games. The Braves have 10 hits, digit hits or more now in 7 of their last 9 games. And they've put up 5 runs or more in 8 of their last 9. If you're going to play this total tonight on Wednesday, the over is the only way to play it. Braves, Phillies, over the total at 6:40 Eastern. And don't forget, my strongest best bets for Wednesday are available right now on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. MLB tonight on Wednesday, and then football, of course, resumes tomorrow on Thursday. And you can get 30 days of college and/or pro football for just $99. But you must have promo code Steve99. Full details on my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
Great breakdown there by my man, Steve Merril. And that does it. Big thanks to Tokyo Brandon and Steve getting you a little early edition here of First Pitch. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and hop below in the comments and let us know what your best bet is on Wednesday. It's always a great best bet to be subscribed here to Wager Talk TV. Bet on it coming your way on Wednesday. We got college football today. All this and more. It's all the tools you need to bet all the sports you love. Only a click away right here at Wager Talk TV.